crucial. Y esto está siendo complicado por el hecho de que varias personas, como las escuelas y los cuidados de niños, están enfrentando el coronavirus y su cuarentena. Estos trabajadores han tenido que ir a laborar para mantener a la ciudad de Houston, y ellos necesitan cuidados para sus hijos. Y hemos estado identificando cuáles son las necesidades de cuidado infantil que necesitan los empleados. Y estamos buscando opciones para cuidado infantil para sus niños menores y adolescentes. Para responder a este desafío, la oficina de la alcaldía, incluyendo la oficina de educación y la oficina del condado Harris, están coordinando un grupo de grupos privados que están haciendo un plan de cuidado infantil y así apoyar a las personas que trabajan en los cuidados de la salud. Hoy día anunciamos que las familias de los trabajadores esenciales se pueden registrar para recibir cuidado para sus niños y apoyo financiero en findchildcarenow.org. findchildcarenow.org. Todos los trabajadores esenciales, incluyendo a todos los de la ciudad de Houston y empleados del condado Harris, que tengan niños menores de 12 años, pueden participar en este plan y se atenderá en orden de llegada. Y el cuidado se les dará inmediatamente. Tenemos un grupo de respetables agencias no gubernamentales de apoyo que por más de 30 años han dado apoyo. Y ellos podrán buscar un centro de cuidado para sus niños, y si necesitan apoyo financiero, serán contactados en menos de 4 días por empleados para ofrecer la ayuda. Ellos ya tienen $10 millones para poder dar cuidado a los hijos de los empleados del condado y de la ciudad, en los condados Colorado, Fort Bend, Galveston, Harris, Liberty, Matagorda, Montgomery, Waller y Wharton. Ahí se les puede dar apoyo a unos 3.500 niños. Quiero agradecer a las compañías sin fines de lucro que han podido unirse para poder ofrecer este cuidado infantil para los trabajadores esenciales en estos minutos. Y yo no creo que en estos momentos haya otro plan similar en los Estados Unidos. Quiero agradecer a Tanya Efford de Houston Endowment, que ha trabajado con Melissa Ashall y Juliet Stipech. Gracias muy especiales a Workforce Solutions, Collaborative for Children, a United Way de Houston, la YMCA de Houston, Hobby Home Connect,
the Bridgespan Group, and the Baker Institute at Rice University. These are
y en la Universidad de Rice.
No doubt. But
estos son desafíos sin lugar a dudas, pero juntos, al estilo que lo hacemos aquí en Texas, usen como dice el hashtag Houston Strong.
Thank you, Mayor. Before we proceed, I wanted to say that we have a wonderful ASL interpreter here. He's not wearing a mask because he needs to be able to demonstrate what we were translating at this point. So just a huge round of applause and thanks for your interpretation at this time.
Vamos a hacer una demostración ya que tenemos una persona que está haciendo la interpretación para sordomudos.
Also now I have the distinguished honor and privilege of being able to introduce the Harris County Judge, Lina Hidalgo.
Thank you so much. Juliet, before I begin,
Muchísimas
I'd like to
gracias.
share a
Antes de comenzar, quiero
sad
compartir
milestone that we've crossed in Harris County, and that is right now in all of Harris County, including the city of Houston, we have just over
todos los condados, incluyendo la ciudad de Houston,
1,300 diagnosed COVID patients. So we crossed
ya hay 1.500
1,000
casos
a couple of
confirmados de
days ago.
coronavirus.
Deaths have now very well
Hace un día
entered the
estábamos
double
en 1,000.
digits. We are at 20 people who've had their lives stolen by COVID-19 so far. Across our region, beyond Harris County, over 2,000 people have
En
tested positive.
Más de 2.000
And I
personas han
want
dado
to be
positivo al
real with
coronavirus en el
people.
condado
I
Harris.
don't think that these numbers truly represent where we
Yo no
are. I
creo que estos
believe,
números
and
realmente
those who are
representen
looking at
donde
the
estamos.
hospital data believe that
Yo creo que
the
estamos viendo
numbers
a
are
los
much
datos que dan los
higher than
hospitales,
those, that for every person who is diagnosed, as we've been
pero
saying,
cada
there's
persona que ha sido
probably
diagnosticada,
a few, maybe up to 5 who've not been diagnosed. It's been a challenge
probablemente
because we
por
don't
cada uno hay
have
unos 5 que no han sido
the access
identificados.
to testing materials that they do in other
Necesitamos
countries, and so we can't possibly test enough
tener el
people
equipo para
to
hacer
have a
pruebas
fully
como en otros
accurate count
países,
of who exactly
para que las personas
has
también
the
puedan tener un
virus.
conteo
And so
confiable.
it's time to remember just how
Es hora de
important
recordar
all of our work together
qué tan
is.
importante
To those of you
es que
staying
trabajemos
home, I
juntos.
want to say thank you
Para
again.
todos
And
ustedes que
those
se
of
están
you
quedando en
that
casa,
are
quiero
not, and really,
agradecerles.
it's not too many, but there are still out there. I know Palm Sunday was this past
Hay pocas
Sunday,
personas que
and
andan por
anyone
allá
who
afuera.
went to spend time with people not part of their
Cualquier persona
households,
que
you
salió
put them at risk. If you
y
go
compartió
see somebody
con
who
personas
you do not live
que no
with,
son de
you
su
are
casa,
putting that person at risk. And so
ustedes están
we
poniendo a
have
esa
got to
persona en riesgo.
continue to take personal
Por eso tenemos
responsibility
que
for this,
continuar
because the reality of it is,
tomando
the
mucha responsabilidad en esto,
sooner
porque
this
la
virus
realidad
can
es
be
que
controlled, the sooner we can go back to our
mientras
lives,
más
the
rápido
sooner
que
the
podamos controlar
economy
este
will
virus,
recover. And if we
lo más
don't
rápido
put
que se va a
our
recuperar la
foot forward,
economía.
our effort forward, this will last longer, the economic downturn will sink deeper, and it will be harder for us, much worse. We will face the type of crisis that we're seeing now in New York, in other areas across the country and the
Y esperamos
world,
no
and
ver
we
la
can
crisis
still
como ha
avoid
sucedido en
it,
Nueva York
so we need
y otros
everybody
países.
to do their part.
Necesitamos que
If you
todos pongan de su parte.
absolutely have to be out, and that means essential workers, that means
No
if
salgas
you're
a no ser
out
que
making a
absolutamente
run
tengas
to
que
the
hacerlo.
grocery
Esos son los
store, or out
trabajadores
making a run to the
que son
pharmacy,
indispensables,
you've
como
gone to
en
the
las
park
tiendas,
to-
en las
to be
farmacias.
away from other people, still, and that's pretty much the only
Si
reasons
van
why
al parque
folks should
tienen
be
que
out and
mantenerse
about.
alejados del
We
resto
are
de la
asking
gente.
folks that they wear a
Le pedimos a la
face
gente-
covering. The CDC issued new guidance that even folks who are
Recuerden que los
asymptomatic
CDC tienen
still,
nuevas guías,
end up
aunque
spreading
aún no
the
tengan los
virus
síntomas,
through even talking, sneezing,
para evitar
coughing.
seguir propagando
They
el
have the
virus, aunque
virus
sea
and not
hablando,
knowing, and
tosiendo.
not know it. So if you are out in public, you should be wearing a face
Si
covering.
usted ha estado,
Now,
si
the
usted ha
other
estado en el
guidance that we
público,
received,
usted
and
tiene que
that's
estar
why
al
I've
tanto de
brought
esto.
this one, and I don't have it on because you can't hear me if I put it on. So that's why I'm speaking with it around my neck.
No me he puesto la
But
máscara porque
if you
quizás no
are
me van a
able,
entender.
please do not buy hospital
Pero si
or
ustedes pueden
N95
hacerlo,
masks.
por
As we've
favor,
seen in
no compren
New
las
York,
máscaras de
we're already
hospitales.
seeing doctors that have to
Hemos
use
visto que en New York,
homemade, masks
doctores
that
que han
have to
tenido que
use
usar
less than
mascarillas
perfect solution
domésticas
because there is a run on the hospital masks. And so if you are able
porque
to access,
hay
I
escasez de
had
estas
this one
mascarillas
made by
profesionales en los
somebody,
hospitales.
you know, who gave it as a gift,
Y
and
estas
so I'm
pudieran
gonna be
ser
wearing this
utilizadas.
one. And folks who would like to make
Yo me voy a
one
poner
or
esta
understand
mascarilla
how to
que está
wear
hecha a
one,
mano.
how to wash one, etc., you can go to readyharris.org and the guidance is there.
Y vayan
Many
a
of us that use out and about
readyharris.org
use
para aprender
some
cómo
sort of
hacerlas,
a
cómo
face mask,
lavarlas.
and ideally to not have it be the kind of mask that our hospital workers are going to need. So that's a N95
Pero por favor no
or
usen el
or
tipo de
a
mascarillas que
hospital
tienen que
surgical
usar los
mask.
doctores como la
Let me be
N95.
clear. There is no substitute for social
Quiero ser clara.
distancing. And so even though you're out
No
and about
hay
wearing the mask, you
sustituto
still should,
para lo que es la
should stay away
distancia
from other
social.
people, and hopefully the mask will help remind us why we are
Si
staying
se
away,
mantienen fuera,
why this
si
is
se
not the
mantienen
time for a
alejados,
pickup
eso,
game
que
of
la mascarilla sea
basketball or
un
anything
recordatorio de
that
qué
has
tan
to do with
alejados tenemos que
touching
permanecer.
surfaces or being close to
Pero
people
todo lo
that
que
we
tenga
don't
que ver
share
con
a
tocar
house with.
superficies.
Today, I'm so pleased to join Mayor Turner and everybody here on the announcement of
Todas
this
las personas que están
resource.
acá con este
We've
anuncio
seen shortages
de
of
estos
medical
recursos.
workers across the country, and we can't
Pareciera
afford
que
to
estamos
have a single
escasos de
medical
doctores
worker
en
or
el país.
grocery store clerk or essential
Y es muy
employee
importante
benched
que
because they have
todos
to be
los
home
empleados
taking care
esenciales
of their child because they don't have access to childcare.
tengan que ir a
And so
trabajar y no
first
tengan que
responders,
quedarse
healthcare
en
workers,
casa
grocery
solamente por
store
cuidar de
clerks,
sus
other
hijos.
essential workers showing up for us every day.
Todos los
We have
empleados
to show up
esenciales
for them. And what this effort
tenemos que
means is
demostrarles
that
que
first,
que
any
los
essential
cuidamos.
worker who needs childcare will be able or should be able
Vamos
to
a comenzar
find
con la
it,
edición digital en
and
un
any essential
segundo.
worker who has found childcare should be able to afford it.
¿Qué tal? Les saludo Osvaldo Corral. Seguimos transmitiendo esta conferencia de prensa que está realizando en estos minutos la jueza del condado Lina Hidalgo, el alcalde de Houston. Hay ayuda financiera, hay fondos y se les van a dar servicios pro bono. Vayan a readyharris.org o a la página de Childcare Now. Cualquier persona que sea empleado esencial puede pedir ayuda para cuidar a sus hijos y la información también está disponible en español y la vamos a poner en otros idiomas para que puedan encontrar una persona que pueda cuidar a sus hijos y así nos aseguramos de que puedan seguir los lineamientos de los CDCs para que alguien pueda cuidar a sus hijos mientras pasamos esta situación crítica, para que se les apoye y puedan recibir la ayuda financiera que puedan solicitar. Estamos literalmente manteniendo esta comunidad unida. Tenemos que asegurarnos de que vamos a apoyar a las personas que están en primera línea. Hemos discutido sobre cómo los trabajadores de salud cuidan a sus hijos y qué podemos hacer nosotros. La gente tiene que quedarse en casa, no tiene que andar por la calle, a no ser que sea un trabajador de primera línea. Pero si puede trabajar en casa, hágalo. No podemos dar por sentado el hecho de que muchas personas que son desamparados no tienen dónde ir. Desde el sábado pasado, hay organizaciones que han instaurado un sistema para que todas las personas que viven desamparadas tengan acceso a una vivienda de emergencia. Tenemos espacio para 60 personas, se pudiera subir. Si hay alguien que tenga coronavirus o tenga los síntomas, y quienes sean desamparados, la ciudad de Houston está proveyendo edificios y servicios sociales para dar apoyo a las personas para evitar el contagio. Cualquier persona puede llamar a Ready Harris y vamos a trabajar con ellos y con los lugares para desamparados para que les ayuden. Ustedes van a empezar a ver camiones. Los estamos poniendo cerca de los albergues médicos. El gobierno federal nos está ayudando y está ayudando a las comunidades para regresarnos el dinero. Y esto es un refugio médico
that we don't get
que va a ser como el último
or we need to
recurso.
use it, that would mean that our hospitals have
Esperamos
used
no llegar a
up
utilizarlo.
their capacity, have used up their surge capacity, and now we'll have to use the capacity we're building at NRG.
Esperamos no
We're
tener que
in the
ocupar
meantime
la
going to
capacidad de
find
todos
what
los
other
hospitales,
uses we may
solo
have
tendremos
for
que ir
it,
a
and so
los
we're
terrenos
working
de
on that,
Energy.
but so far the construction will start right now in the parking lot of NRG.
La construcción va a
We right
comenzar
now
ahora
can't
mismo.
build it indoors because of course we're still cleaning out from the rodeo, and so that would be a dangerous
Todavía está
situation for
limpiando. Me acompaña la jueza Lina Hidalgo. Quiero agradecerle a la jueza Hidalgo por su liderazgo. También tengo a la representante Sheila Jackson Lee, Johnson & Johnson. Está su presidenta acá, se lo agradezco mucho. La doctora Shaw. Y otras personas que están aquí ayudándonos a la ciudad de Houston y a sus oficiales. Quiero agradecerle a todas esas personas que mantienen la ciudad funcionando. Esto incluye a nuestros rescatistas, empleados de la salud, conductores de metro y a los trabajadores esenciales del municipio, a los trabajadores de la construcción, a todas las personas que trabajan en infraestructura crítica, al Departamento de Seguridad Nacional y a las agencias de infraestructura. Tenemos muchos desafíos que ustedes y su familia están pasando por estos momentos difíciles. Los trabajadores esenciales son quienes han mantenido operando nuestra ciudad, nuestro condado, desde que comenzó esta crisis. Y tener cuidado para sus niños es algo crucial. Y esto está siendo complicado por el hecho de que varias personas, como las escuelas y los cuidados de niños, están enfrentando el coronavirus y su cuarentena. Estos trabajadores han tenido que ir a laborar para mantener a la ciudad de Houston, y ellos necesitan cuidados para sus hijos. Y hemos estado identificando cuáles son las necesidades de cuidado infantil que necesitan los empleados. Y estamos buscando opciones para cuidado infantil para sus niños menores y adolescentes. Para responder a este desafío, la oficina de la alcaldía, incluyendo la oficina de educación y la oficina del condado Harris, están coordinando un grupo de grupos privados que están haciendo un plan de cuidado infantil y así apoyar a las personas que trabajan en los cuidados de la salud. Hoy día anunciamos que las familias de los trabajadores esenciales se pueden registrar para recibir cuidado para sus niños y apoyo financiero en findchildcarenow.org. findchildcarenow.org. Todos los trabajadores esenciales, incluyendo a todos los de la ciudad de Houston y empleados del condado Harris, que tengan niños menores de 12 años, pueden participar en este plan y se atenderá en orden de llegada. Y el cuidado se les dará inmediatamente. Tenemos un grupo de respetables agencias no gubernamentales de apoyo que por más de 30 años han dado apoyo
licensed child care center that best serves their
y ellos
needs.
podrán
And if a
buscar un
family
centro de cuidado para
wishes
sus
to apply
niños,
for financial support, they will be
y si
contacted by
necesitan
representative from
apoyo
Workforce
financiero,
Solutions within
serán
4 business days to review options.
contactados en
Workforce
menos de 4
Solutions
días por
has
empleados para
allocated
ofrecer la
$10 million
ayuda.
in for child care for
Ellos
the
ya tienen 10
13
millones
county
de
region
dólares
of Austin,
para poder
Brazoria,
dar cuidado a
Chambers,
los hijos de los empleados del
Colorado,
condado y de la
Fort
ciudad,
Bend, Galveston,
en los
Harris,
condados Colorado,
Liberty,
Fort Bend, Galveston,
Matagorda,
Harris,
Montgomery,
Liberty,
Walker,
Matagorda,
Waller,
Montgomery,
and Wharton counties,
Waller,
which can provide
Wharton.
child care support for at least
Ahí se les puede
3,500
dar
children of essential workers.
apoyo a unos
I want to thank the
3.500
nonprofit
niños.
and philanthropic leaders
Quiero agradecer a las
who have
compañías
come
sin fines de
together to
lucro
support quality child care
que
for
han
our
podido
essential
unirse para poder
workers at
ofrecer
this
este
time.
cuidado infantil
And
para
quite
los trabajadores
frankly,
esenciales
I
en
don't
estos
believe
minutos.
that there's a similar program any other place in the United States. I
Y yo no
especially
creo que en
want
estos
to
momentos
thank
haya otro plan
Tanya
similar en
Edwards,
los Estados
program
Unidos.
officer from the
Quiero agradecer a
Houston
Tanya
Endowment,
Efford
who has worked very closely
de
with
Houston
Chief Resilient
Endowment,
Officer Marissa Aho and Director of Education
que está trabajando con
Juliet
Melissa
Stepek,
Ashall
to support this effort. A
y
very
Juliet
special
Stepek.
thanks to Workforce Solutions, Bain and Company,
Gracias muy especiales a
Collaborative
Workforce
for
Solutions,
Children, United Way of Houston,
Collaborative for Children,
YMCA
a United Way de
Greater
Houston,
First 3 Years,
la YMCA de
Harvey
Houston,
Home Connect, Texas Public Lab
Harvey
at
Home
Rice
Connect,
University, the Bridgespan Group, and the Baker Institute at Rice University. These are
y a la Universidad de
challenging
Rice.
times, no doubt. But
Estos
together,
son
in
desafíos
Houston
sin
and
lugar a
Harris
dudas,
County
pero
fashion,
juntos,
we will get through this because we are,
al estilo
as
que lo
we said,
hacemos aquí
hashtag Houston
en
Strong.
Texas,
Juliet?
usen como dice el hashtag Houston Strong.
Thank you, Mayor. Before we proceed, I wanted to say that we have a wonderful ASL interpreter here. He's not wearing a mask because he needs to be able to demonstrate what we were translating at this point. So just a huge round of applause and thanks for your interpretation at this time.
Vamos a hacer una demostración ya que tenemos una persona que está haciendo la interpretación para sordomudos.
Also now I have the distinguished honor and privilege of being able to introduce the Harris County Judge, Lina Hidalgo.
Thank you so much. Juliet, before I begin,
Muchísimas
I'd like to
gracias.
share a
Antes de comenzar,
sad
quiero compartir
milestone that we've crossed in Harris County, and that is right now in all of Harris County, including the city of Houston, we have just over
Todo el condado, incluyendo la ciudad de
1,300
Houston,
diagnosed COVID patients. So we crossed
ya hay 1.500
1,000
casos
a couple of
confirmados de
days ago.
coronavirus.
Deaths have now very well
Hace unos
entered
días
the
estábamos
double
en 1,000.
digits. We are at 20 people who've had their lives stolen by COVID-19 so far. Across our region, beyond Harris County, over 2,000 people have
En
tested positive.
Más de 2.000
And I
personas han
want
dado
to be
positivo al
real with
coronavirus en el
people.
condado
I
Harris.
don't think that these numbers truly represent where we
Yo no
are.
creo
I
que estos
believe,
números
and
realmente
those who are
representen
looking at
dónde
the
estamos.
hospital data believe that
Yo creo que
the
estamos viendo
numbers
a
are
los
much
datos que dan los
higher than
hospitales,
this, that for every person who is diagnosed, as we've been
pero
saying,
cada
there's
persona que ha sido
probably
diagnosticada,
a few, maybe up to 5 who've not been diagnosed. It's been a challenge
probablemente
because we
por
don't
cada uno hay
have
unos 5 que no han
the
sido
access
identificados.
to testing materials that they do in other
Necesitamos
countries, and so we can't possibly test enough
tener el
people
equipo para
to
hacer
have a
pruebas
fully
como en otros
accurate count
países,
of who exactly
para que las personas
has
también
the
puedan tener un
virus.
conteo
And so
confiable.
It's time to remember just how
Es hora de
important
recordar
all of our work together
qué tan
is.
importante
To those of you
es que
staying
trabajemos
home, I
juntos.
want to say thank you
Para
again.
todos
And
ustedes que
those
se
of
están
you
quedando en
that
casa,
are
quiero
not, and really,
agradecerles.
it's not too many, but there are still out there. I know Palm Sunday was this past
Hay pocas
Sunday,
personas que
and
están por
anyone
allá afuera.
who went to spend time with people not part of their
Cualquier persona
households,
que
you
salió
put them at risk. If you
y
go
compartió
see somebody
con
who
personas
you do not live
que no
with,
son de su
you're
casa,
putting that person at risk. And so
ustedes están
we
poniendo a esa
have got
persona
to
en riesgo.
continue to take personal
Por eso tenemos
responsibility
que
for this,
continuar
because the reality of it is,
tomando
the
mucha
sooner
responsabilidad en esto, porque
this
la
virus
realidad
can
es
be
que
controlled, the sooner we can go back to our
mientras
lives,
más
the
rápido
sooner
que
the
podamos controlar
economy
este
will
virus,
recover. And if we
lo más
don't
rápido
put
que se va a recuperar la
our foot forward,
economía.
our effort forward, this will last longer, the economic downturn will sink deeper, and it will be harder for us, much worse. We will face the type of crisis that we're seeing now in New York, in other areas across the country and the
Y esperamos
world,
no
and
ver
we
la
can
crisis
still
como
avoid
sucedió en
it,
Nueva York
so we need
y otros
everybody
países.
to do their part.
Necesitamos que
You
todos pongan de su parte.
absolutely have to be out, and that means essential workers, that means
No
if
salgas
you're
a no ser
out
que
making a
absolutamente
run
tengas
to
que
the
hacerlo.
grocery
Esos son los
store, you're out
trabajadores
making a run to the
que son
pharmacy,
indispensables,
you've
como
gone to
en
the
las
park
tiendas, en las
to be
farmacias.
away from other people, still, and that's pretty much the only
Si
reasons
van
why
al parque
folks should
tienen
be
que
out and about.
mantenerse alejados del
We
resto
are
de la
asking
gente.
folks that they wear
Le pedimos a la
face
gente,
covering. The CDC issued new guidance that even folks who are
recuerden que los
asymptomatic
CDC
may
tienen
still,
nuevas guías,
end up
aunque
spreading
aún no
the
tengan los
virus
síntomas,
through even talking, sneezing,
para evitar
coughing.
seguir propagando
They
el
may have
virus,
the
aunque
virus
sea
and not
hablando,
knowing,
tosiendo.
and not know it. So if you are out in public, you should be wearing a face
Si
covering.
usted ha
Now,
si
the
usted ha
other
estado en el
guidance that we
público,
received,
usted tiene
and
que
that's
estar
why
al
I've
tanto de
brought
esto.
this one, and I don't have it on because you can't hear me if I put it on. So that's why I'm speaking with it around my neck.
No me he puesto la
But
máscara porque
if you
quizás no
are
me van a
able,
entender.
please do not buy hospital
Pero si
or
ustedes pueden
N95
hacerlo,
masks.
por
As we've
favor,
seen in
no compren
New
las
York,
máscaras de
we're already
hospitales.
seeing doctors that have to
Hemos visto
use
que en New York,
homemade, masks
doctores
that
que
have
han
to
tenido que
use
usar
less than
mascarillas
perfect solution
domésticas
because there is a run on the hospital masks. And so if you are able
porque
to access,
hay
I
escasez
had
de
this
estas
one
mascarillas
made by
profesionales en los
somebody,
hospitales.
you know, who gave it as a gift,
Y
and
estas
so I'm
pudieran
gonna be
ser
wearing this
utilizadas.
one. And folks who would like to make
Yo me voy
one
a poner
or
esta
understand how
mascarilla
to
que está
wear
hecha a
one,
mano.
how to wash one, etc., you can go to readyharris.org and the guidance is
Y
there.
vayan a readyharris.org para aprender cómo hacerlas, cómo lavarlas.
And ideally to not have it be the kind of mask that our hospital workers are going to need. So that's a
Pero por favor no usen el tipo de mascarillas que tienen que usar los doctores como la
Let me be
N95.
clear. There is no substitute for social
Quiero ser clara.
distancing. And so even though you're out
No
and
hay
wearing the mask,
sustituto
you still
para lo que es la
should stay away
distancia
from other
social.
people, and hopefully the mask will help remind us why we are staying
Si se
away,
mantienen fuera,
why this is
si se
not the
mantienen
time for a
alejados,
pickup
eso,
game
que
of
la mascarilla sea
basketball or
un
anything
recordatorio de
that
qué
has
tan
to do with
alejados tenemos que
touching
permanecer.
surfaces or being close to
Pero
people
todo lo
that
que
we
tenga
don't
que ver
share
con tocar
households.
superficies.
Today, I'm so pleased to join Mayor Turner and everybody here on the announcement of
Todas
this
las personas que están
resource.
acá con este
We've
anuncio
seen shortages of
de estos
medical
recursos.
workers across the country, and we can't afford
Pareciera que
to
estamos
have a single
escasos de
medical
doctores
worker
en
or
el país.
grocery store clerk or essential
Y es
employee
muy importante
benched
que
because they have
todos
to
los
go home
empleados
taking care
esenciales
of their
who can
child
safely
because they don't have access to childcare.
tengan que ir a
And so
trabajar y no
first
tengan que
responders,
quedarse
healthcare
en
workers,
casa
grocery
solamente por
store
cuidar de
clerks,
sus
other
hijos.
essential workers showing up for us every day.
Todos los
We have
empleados
to show up
esenciales
for them. And what this effort
tenemos que
means is
demostrarles
that
que,
first,
no sé,
any
que
essential
los cuidamos.
worker who needs childcare will be able or should be able
Vamos
to
a comenzar
find
con
it,
edición digital
and
en un
any essential
segundo.
worker who has found childcare should be able to afford it.
¿Qué tal? Les saluda Osvaldo Corral. Seguimos transmitiendo esta conferencia de prensa que está realizando en estos minutos la jueza del condado Lina Hidalgo, el alcalde de Houston. Hay ayuda financiera, hay fondos y se les van a dar servicios pro bono. Vayan a readyharris.org o a la página de Childcare Now. Cualquier persona que sea empleado esencial puede pedir ayuda para cuidar a sus hijos y la información también está disponible en español y la vamos a poner en otros idiomas para que puedan encontrar una persona que pueda cuidar a sus hijos y así nos aseguramos de que puedan seguir los lineamientos de los CDCs para que alguien pueda cuidar a sus hijos mientras pasamos esta situación crítica, para que se les apoye y puedan recibir la ayuda financiera que puedan solicitar. Estamos literalmente manteniendo esta comunidad unida. Tenemos que asegurarnos de que vamos a apoyar a las personas que están en primera línea. Hemos discutido sobre cómo los trabajadores de salud cuidan a sus hijos y qué podemos hacer nosotros. La gente tiene que quedarse en casa, no tiene que andar por la calle, a no ser que sea un trabajador de primera línea. Pero si puede trabajar en casa, hágalo. No podemos dar por sentado el hecho de que muchas personas que son desamparados no tienen dónde ir. Desde el sábado pasado hay organizaciones que han instaurado un sistema para que todas las personas que viven desamparadas tengan acceso a una vivienda de emergencia. Tenemos espacio para 60 personas, se pudiera subir. Si hay alguien que tenga coronavirus o tenga los síntomas, y quienes sean desamparados, la ciudad de Houston está proveyendo edificios y servicios sociales para dar apoyo a las personas para evitar el contagio. Cualquier persona puede llamar a Ready Harris y vamos a trabajar con ellos y con los lugares para desamparados para que les ayuden. Ustedes van a empezar a ver camiones. Los estamos poniendo cerca de los albergues médicos. El gobierno federal nos está ayudando y está ayudando a las comunidades para regresarnos el dinero. Y esto es un refugio médico que va a ser como el último recurso. Esperamos no llegar a utilizarlo. Esperamos no tener que ocupar la capacidad de todos los hospitales, sino tendríamos que ir a los terrenos de Energy. La construcción va a comenzar ahora mismo. Todavía está limpiando lo que es del rodeo, entonces por el momento es una situación preocupante para las personas que tengan problemas respiratorios y que vayan a ser aisladas ahí. Si ustedes ven estos tipos de camiones que estén cerca del estadio Energy, es eso, estamos preparando refugios de emergencia. Y lo último que quiero decir es que quienes nos puedan ayudar, les recuerdo que pueden ir a readyharris.org para ser voluntarios, para donar. Tenemos un fondo de recuperación que ya lo establecimos. Hemos estado en contacto con el banco de comida y ellos continúan necesitando voluntarios. Pero también necesitamos donaciones. No donaciones de alimentos, sino que donaciones de dinero, para así poder comprar la comida que ellos necesitan. Si van al houstonbank.org pueden hacer una donación financiera para apoyar al banco de comida. Ahora voy a repetir en español y después recibir algunas preguntas.
En español repito brevemente. Primero me gustaría nombrar una trágica cifra que ya cruzamos en el condado Harris. Son más de 1,000 personas que ya han sido diagnosticadas positivas entre el condado Harris, la ciudad de Houston. Claro, ya son más de 1,300.
It is with distinct honor and privilege that at this moment I have the pleasure of introducing the mayor of the city of Houston, Mayor Sylvester Turner.
Thank you, Julia Stepage, and certainly I want to thank all of the participants who are here today. And it's always good, again, to be standing with County Judge Lina Hidalgo. We've been spending a lot of time together. And so let me thank Judge Hidalgo for her leadership. We also have the pleasure of having Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee from the 18th Congressional District. And then I want to also acknowledge Melanie Johnson, who is with Collaborative for Children, President and CEO. Thank you for your work. Richard Shaw, who's here, the committee chair and labor representative for the Gulf Coast Workforce Board and Workforce Solutions of Harris County. And then there are a number of other parties who are here. I do want to acknowledge Marissa Aho, who's with the City of Houston, the Chief Resilience Officer. I want to thank those who keep the city running, and I know the judge will be thanking those who keep the county running. They include our first responders, healthcare and public health employees, metro bus drivers. They are essential government workers. Also, grocery store employees and delivery workers, construction workers, all those who work in critical infrastructure as identified by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, National Cybersecurity, and Infrastructure Security Agency. I recognize the challenges that you and your family face in these most difficult times. There is no playbook for a pandemic. Essential workers have kept our city and county operating since the beginning of this healthcare crisis. On any given day, finding quality child care is critically important for parents who work outside the home. And today, this issue is further complicated by the fact.
Realmente le agradezco a todos los que han estado en casa, que se han permanecido aislados, aquellos que han salido y son pocos, pero tenemos que reducir el número aún más. Sé que fue este domingo una fecha importante. Cualquier persona que visitó otras personas con quienes no viven bajo el mismo techo han puesto en peligro a esas personas, han puesto en peligro a esas vidas, porque podemos tener el virus y no saberlo, no tener síntomas. Entonces, por favor, recuerden no estar en contacto con ninguna persona con quien no vivan, porque si lo hacen, los están poniendo en riesgo. Entonces, seguimos pidiendo que nos ayuden con eso. Entre más rápido logremos controlar este virus, más rápidamente podremos salir de esta, regresar a nuestras vidas y también salir adelante en cuanto a nuestra economía. Si no colaboramos, si seguimos participando en actividades con más gente, el virus se va a extender, se va a expandir y va a ser peor y más largo el impacto económico que todos estamos sufriendo. Pero si realmente tiene que salir, y eso sería si son trabajadores esenciales, si tiene que ir al supermercado, a la farmacia, al parque, básicamente esas son las únicas situaciones en las cuales debería salir. Entonces, lo que debe hacer es utilizar una cobertura para la cara. No estoy utilizando la mía porque no me escuchan si me cubro la boca. Entonces, la tengo aquí en el cuello. El gobierno federal ha explicado que si no tiene máscara, aunque no tenga síntomas, podría cargar el virus, puede contagiar a la gente al toser, al hablar, al estornudar. Entonces, al salir, por favor, utilice una máscara. Estamos pidiendo que no utilice máscaras médicas, no utilice máscaras, si puede, si tiene acceso a una máscara hecha en casa. Esta me la hizo alguien, me la regalaron y pues es muy bueno porque está hecha de tela y no queremos que los trabajadores médicos se queden sin máscaras. En Nueva York han estado utilizando los trabajadores médicos este tipo de máscaras. Tenemos que guardar las máscaras hospitalarias para esos trabajadores. Entonces, use máscara y si puede, intente hacer una o comprar una pues no médica. Puede ver información en readyharris.org de cómo lavarla, dónde comprarlas, todo esto. El recurso que estamos anunciando hoy realmente me enorgullece muchísimo. Lo estamos anunciando con el alcalde, con varias organizaciones, y es que ya hemos visto pues, que realmente no hay suficientes trabajadores médicos a lo largo del país para manejar este tipo de virus. Entonces, no podemos permitir el que haya un solo trabajador médico, un solo trabajador de supermercado, trabajador esencial en casa, simplemente porque no tienen dónde dejar a los niños. Y queremos que todos los trabajadores esenciales que necesiten cuidado infantil tengan acceso a cuidado infantil. Y que todos los trabajadores esenciales que hayan encontrado ya cuidado infantil lo puedan pagar. De eso se trata el esfuerzo del día de hoy. Entonces, si usted es un trabajador esencial, puede ir a readyharris.org, ahí encontrará el link donde puede aplicar y lo conectarán en cuestión de un par de días con el Centro de Cuidado Infantil licenciado cerca a su hogar o donde usted desee, y si califica para ayuda financiera, también se le conectará con ayuda financiera. Ahora, no es necesario que usted sea ciudadano americano. Si su hijo es ciudadano americano, hijo o hija, también puede calificar para el apoyo, inclusive la ayuda financiera. La información está disponible también en español en readyharris.org. Entonces, invito a que utilicen este recurso. Lo que queremos es reconocer que estos trabajadores esenciales están apoyándonos a todos y nosotros queremos apoyarlos a ustedes. Estamos trabajando con los centros de cuidado infantil para asegurarnos que estén tomando medidas de precaución para no exponer a los niños, por ejemplo, recibir muchos menos niños de lo que es la capacidad, utilizar las medidas que recomienda el gobierno federal para saber que estos niños van a estar pues tan seguros como es posible. Finalmente tenemos otra nota, es una pregunta que recibo muy seguido. ¿Qué estamos haciendo para apoyar a las personas sin hogar? Decimos que todos deben estar en la casa, que deben estar en cuarentena, pero ¿qué si no tenemos casa a dónde ir? Y tenemos ya ahora una solución. Desde este sábado, en sociedad con la ciudad de Houston, con el alcalde, hemos estado trabajando en un programa que ya está establecido para recibir personas que no tienen casa. Entonces, si alguien no tiene hogar y ha sido diagnosticado con el virus o tiene síntomas y es muy posible que tenga el virus, los conectaremos con una entidad donde estamos recibiendo a esas personas sin hogar, les estamos ofreciendo todo tipo de servicios para que estén bien. Hemos trabajado con los hospitales, hemos trabajado con los centros de apoyo a las personas sin hogar, los albergues, y de esa manera los estamos apoyando para que tengan también los recursos que necesitan. Otra nota muy breve, empezarán a ver camiones en el centro de NRG, donde solía estar el rodeo. Ese es un centro del condado. Y quería solo informarle a todos que empezando el día de hoy se empezarán a ver camiones ahí porque estamos construyendo ya el centro médico que es de último recurso. Entonces se trata si los hospitales realmente se ven en una situación como la que hay en Nueva York u otras ciudades donde no tengan camas, no tengan espacio y ya hayan maximizado pues su capacidad en cuanto a áreas comunes, pasillos, todo eso. Entonces, en ese momento se utilizará lo que estamos construyendo en NRG, lo estamos construyendo en el estacionamiento porque los edificios todavía tienen materiales del rodeo, lo cual sería un problema para los pacientes con temas respiratorios. Esto, como he dicho, esperamos no tenerlo que necesitar y por ahora también estamos evaluando qué otros usos se le pueden dar por mientras esperamos a si se va a usar o no para esto de último recurso. Aquellas personas que han estado preguntando si pueden donar comida para distribuir comida al Houston Food Bank. El Food Bank está pidiendo el favor que por favor no donen comida, sino donen dinero. Así ellos pueden invertir esos fondos en la comida que más necesitan. Entonces recuerden, pueden acceder donaciones en Ready Harris, pero también el día de hoy quiero prestarle especial atención al Houston Food Bank, el quien ofrece comida a nuestra región, a nuestros niños. Entonces vayan a houstonfoodbank.org, donar fondos que harán disponible la comida para la gente que la necesita. Y una nota muy breve para terminar acerca de la cárcel. He explicado ya que cruzamos más de 1,000 personas, 1,300 ahora que tienen el virus. Otra cifra que hay que explicar es que ya vamos en más de 10 personas, 10 trabajadores en la cárcel que tienen el virus, que han sido diagnosticados. Más de 3 presos ya tienen el virus y hay más de 3 personas en la cárcel, más de 3 docenas de personas en la cárcel que tienen síntomas y esperamos que lo más seguro es que llegue esas pruebas positivas. Hay más de 800 personas en la cárcel que están en cuarentena, a como mejor lo hemos podido diseñar en una cárcel que pues está muy apretada de personas. No necesitamos ser doctores ni tener un doctor aquí, aunque ya lo hemos tenido, para explicar que la situación de la cárcel es muy peligrosa. Hay 8,000 personas que viven en contacto extremadamente cercano y si esas personas se siguen contagiando de la manera que está sucediendo, estos individuos, sean trabajadores o sean presos, van a necesitar la misma camilla de hospital que usted y yo podríamos necesitar. Es por eso que evaluamos personas no violentas, de bajo riesgo, nada de violencia doméstica, nada de eso, sino personas no violentas, acusadas de crímenes no violentos, para poder aliviar la presión en la cárcel y que haya más espacio para que no se esparza el riesgo del virus. Por eso estoy realmente muy impaciente en cuanto a qué vamos a hacer con la cárcel. Yo pienso que realmente la historia nos va a recordar de dos maneras. Aquellos que actuaron de una manera agresiva, creativa, para detener el contagio del virus, y aquellas personas que actuaron lentamente o peor, se pusieron en el camino para prevenir que otras personas tomaran acción agresiva innecesaria. Y espero que todos nosotros estemos trabajando por tomar acción. Me preocupa mucho que no se vea en este momento progreso en el tema de la cárcel. Dadas estas cifras, he recibido yo personalmente comunicaciones de las familias de los trabajadores de la cárcel, trabajadores médicos, trabajadores de seguridad pública, que nos dicen están realmente muy preocupados de ver cómo están incrementando los casos y de ver que no se está pudiendo llevando a cabo el progreso que necesitamos ver. Entonces, con eso termino. Van a hablar más personas, después estaremos respondiendo preguntas, y nuevamente muchas gracias a todos los que están poniendo de su parte para ayudar a que controlemos este virus. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Judge Hidalgo. And as the mayor and the judge described, there's an importance of us working together and unifying both local, state, and national partners. And next, we'd like to have the Honorable Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee provide some words. So sorry, she's on the phone. So let's go ahead and have Dr. Melanie Johnson from Collaborative for Children come and describe more about her fantastic organization and findchildcarenow.org.
Good afternoon. Collaborative for Children is so pleased to insert its resource, findchildcarenow.org, to help those in our community who are doing so much on the front lines to keep us surviving and thriving. We have had this resource for several decades, and we've been able to refer tens of thousands of families, specifically parents, to quality child care. And we are so pleased to be able to join hands with the federal agencies, with Workforce Solutions, with our mayor of Houston, our county judge, Lina Hidalgo, and with Houston Endowment's support to undergird this partnership. We're super excited about this opportunity. For now, parents are able to use this website not only to refer to quality, accredited, and licensed childcare, but also be able to receive funding, subsidized childcare through an application process with Workforce Solutions. So we're very grateful for that. And for those of you who are parents who are concerned about COVID-19 and the cleanliness and the sanitation, the safety of your little ones in the child care centers, well, child care centers have historically dealt with cleanliness and sanitation and hand washing and things of that nature. But Collaborative for Children has certainly ensured that they receive information directly from the CDC in terms of COVID-19 protocols and guidelines for sanitation. So we will ensure that, we will consistently do so, but our goal is to make sure that parents of essential workers or parents who are essential workers are able to get financial assistance as well as find quality childcare, or both, on findchildcarenow.org's website. We also want you to know that in this critical time, it's not just essential for us to find childcare and provide subsidies, but children, specifically those ages birth through 5, need very much to have a consistent learning environment so that they are ready for school. At present, only 47% of our children enter school ready, and our staff at Collaborative for Children is working behind the scenes remotely in order to provide the type of school efficacy that is necessary for these children to enter school ready in the fall. In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, we saw that it took about 2 years for school children to be able to recover lost learning. And we do not want that to happen to children in our county and in our city. So Collaborative for Children has provided not only this website, findchildcarenow.org, for affordable childcare, but also for actionable items to ensure that our children are ready for school. Thank you very much.
And now from the Gulf, we'll go ahead and ask the Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee to please provide some words on behalf of the committee.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Let me thank the Mayor and County Judge, Texas Workforce Commission. Texas Workforce Commission is a partner with the U.S. Department of Labor and federal funding, and we could not be more appreciative of this giant step. We thank you to the Mayor's leader on education, Dr. Johnson, and those who have gathered here in particular. I was just on a phone call with the members of Congress on the discussion of CARES Act number 3, and that is the next step of federal funding. Listening to the efforts here, we know that the focus is going to have to be on refining and improving and funding the unemployment, since we know that 6 million persons across the nation have filed for unemployment and large numbers in this community. And so listening to our leaders, we are able to ensure that federal funds will come from parents who are unemployed, and to provide child care block grants to our local communities that will further help those who have to go to work and need child care. And so we want to be a partner, and I am glad to be able to offer this advocacy in Washington along with my colleagues to emphasize the important work that is being done here. I want to thank the Houston Endowment, and I want to acknowledge those child care facilities that are maintaining their open space. I want Dr. Johnson to know that she is right, that when I've seen child care facilities, they are impeccable with their efforts at cleanliness. I think that should be an important point. I know that in my own congressional district, there are many, including the Barbara Jordan Center, that'll be open to individuals who have to go to work. So however we can be a partner with federal funding, we also appreciate the private donations that are going to be able to help this opportunity of individual parents getting assistance, but as well being able to sign up at childcarenow.org, if I have the right, I've got it right, childcarenow.org. We hope that the parents will sign up. As I drove here today, I saw the many truck drivers and deliverers. One of them, I opened the window to say thank you for your service. We don't get a chance to see all of them. We may see the grocery persons and those who are stocking shelves, but we don't see every one of the essential workers. They have families too. And I think it is extremely important that we recognize in this time that we are our brothers and sisters' keeper, and that we are in fact there to take care of each other and to say thank you. I want to close my remarks by indicating earlier today, a group of us took a moment of silence for those who've lost their lives. And we don't want the loved ones to think that we have forgotten them. Again, let me thank our local leaders for the very difficult work that they're engaged in. Let me commit that our bipartisan congressional delegation is here for you. Mi casa es su casa. We are all in this together. Your house is my house. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman. And now on behalf of the Gulf Coast Workforce Board and Workforce Solutions, Mr. Richard Shaw.
Thank you, Juliet. Thank you, Mayor Turner, Judge Hidalgo, Dr. Johnson, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee. On behalf of the Gulf Coast Workforce Board, it is my pleasure to welcome you to Workforce Solutions, North Line. Here you are. And standing behind me to my left in the back is Mark Guthrie. He's the chair of our Gulf Coast Workforce Board, and we welcome you. You see that the office is empty, and that's because our staff is working remotely. Nearly 1,000 professionals remain ready to help with job search, job matching, career counseling, and adult literacy advice. And our employer service team is helping businesses find qualified candidates and manage their workforce needs using phone, email, and the internet. We thank Mayor Turner and Judge Hidalgo for their leadership and for lending their voices to tell essential workers that we value their efforts and are here to help. Since its inception, the Workforce Board has placed a priority on and invested its funds in improving the quality of early education and care. Collaborative for Children is and has been our partner in this effort. As the largest single payer for early childhood education and care in the region, the Gulf Coast Workforce Board has for more than 20 years worked to expand the availability and quality of early education and child care for our working parents. With an initial allocation of $10 million, the Gulf Coast Workforce Board will provide financial assistance that will enable quality early education and care for the children of essential workers across the entire 13-county Workforce Solutions service area. Currently, the board supports 30,000 children and their families with education and care expenses every day. This additional investment will help ensure that an additional 6,000 children are in safe and quality learning environments, while their parents serve our communities as essential workers. In everything we do, the Gulf Coast Workforce Board seeks to assure that the Houston-Galveston region remains a great place to live, work, and do business. With this investment, we honor the everyday heroes who are helping our community remain safe and functioning during this unprecedented crisis. Please visit findchildcarenow.org to start your application, and you will be contacted within 2 business days. If you already have children but need financial assistance, you can call us directly at 713-334-5980. Thank you.
In closing, my name is Juliet Stepetch, and I'm Mayor Sylvester Turner's Director of Education for the City of Houston. It's a distinct honor and a privilege to be able to collaborate with these leaders who love our essential workers and their children. And so we know that we are stronger together, though we are apart at this point. And this is a unique demonstration of how working together, successfully braving public and private dollars, we can guarantee and ensure that we are going to offer child care resources to persons, critical information at this time. And we just want to thank you for sharing this news with the community and ensuring that this news gets out there to everyone, that it is available and it is being launched today. And with that, we will open it up for questions.
We just had a nurse call us saying they tried to get on the website, and I guess they called a couple of the daycares on the website, and they were telling them that they weren't taking kids. Are they supposed to have to just call daycares directly, or are they supposed to register?
Yes, the portal is there for the registration, findchildcarenow.org, and then we have a caseload of caseworkers who will assist them with matching them with their child care needs.
So they shouldn't be.
Not to call the centers directly. Okay. Correct.
Judge, what can you tell us again about what's going on at NRG? More specifically, like the hospital of last resort to that facility, or what's the status on that?
So we've all heard about the importance of our hospital capacity, that we have enough ICU beds, that we have enough ventilators. We've seen in New York, for example, right now they're scrambling to build a field hospital in Central Park. You know, everybody's trying to add on to those beds. We don't want to be in a situation where we're trying to build something in the middle of an even deeper crisis. And so what we have decided to do is get ahead of this challenge and
start building a last resort medical shelter now. So the structures are coming up this week, and it will have capacity. We're still trying to figure out, we're building it by modules, so it's 250 bed modules, and we may be able ultimately to build at least 3 of those. The first one will come up this week, and those will be used and activated once the hospitals run out of space, not just of their normal hospital beds, but also of their surge hospital beds, because we have to make sure that we are absolutely maximizing capacity. So we can't step in before the hospitals have reached their capacity. Otherwise, we're ending up with less capacity than we could have actually built. The other note I made is we're trying to assess, in the meantime, could we be using those beds or that space for something else obviously related to coronavirus? And so those are the questions we're asking, and to the extent that we find a solution, I'll share that with the community.
Is it just in the parking lot?
They will be built in the parking lot. Obviously, it's all done according to the best engineering and healthcare advice, just as it's been done in other communities. These outdoor spaces end up having better outcomes. But the biggest issue is that it would be a respiratory challenge for folks if we put it inside NRG. That said, the experts all tell us, and as we've seen in other communities, there are perfectly great designs to build these outdoor medical shelters. Folks call them field hospitals in other places. It's not something that we're, inventing. It's something that there's a design that exists, it works, and we're establishing a shelter in NRG so that we have that if we were to need it. And let's hope we don't, because if we get to a point where we're using those beds for coronavirus or for to offload the coronavirus needs of the hospitals, then we know that it's truly a challenging place.
Judge, along that, the staffing, is there plans coordinating right now with the medical center about how you would staff this field hospital?
Great question about the staffing. So yes, the idea is to bring outside staff, so we're not having to pull from existing medical center staff that's already been, stretched thin. And so yes, we're working on staffing as well. The idea is to have it ready to go so we don't waste a single second were we to need this resource.
And the resource for creating this space, is that an outfit that has done this?
What company are you?
Is it a contractor that's coming in who
Yes,
does this?
it's a contractor that's building the space. The name, I have it, I don't want to say it wrong, so we'll follow up, but it's a contractor that has experience building this, and they had one medical shelter available, and we were able to snatch it up. As folks will recall, the federal government was offering, field hospitals. The Texas one went to Dallas, so we weren't able to bring it. We were still concerned, and I was concerned. We've had this discussion with the mayor and other community leaders. We have got to have this resource, and so we were able to find a contractor that will build it. And ideally, we heard back from our federal partners that they would reimburse us for these expenditures at 75% cost. So that's great. So right now, the county is fronting that, and we hope to be able to receive the federal support, which they've already said, if we use it according to these parameters, that they would reimburse.
Do you have another question on that issue?
I have lots of questions.
Okay. You're also, you mentioned the inmate situation. Is there an appeal going on or a plan to appeal Judge Ritchie's order to try and get that, your decree back in action?
Yeah, so where we are right now is we had for quite a few days, perhaps at least a week, been in discussion before the order came through as to making sure that we were releasing nonviolent inmates through a careful process. As I mentioned when I initially signed the order, the sense is we don't have time to wait. That wasn't done, and so I signed the order. It's neither here nor there to me who does it, as long as it gets done. That was my initial comment, 10 days, 2 weeks ago, to all of the stakeholders involved. And so the challenge is we have 2 conflicting orders. We certainly could resort to legal action around this for a court to decide which one controls. The problem is we don't have time for a protracted legal battle. We don't have time. And that's why I've not given the go-ahead that we engage in that battle in the hopes that today we will see some action. As I said, it is time to either act or let others act. No other option, because this is about health and safety. Releasing nonviolent folks, people accused of nonviolent crimes, is not a proud political slogan for anybody. I'm taking the step, and I signed that order because every day we have more people who are sick. We had over 24 people last week with symptoms who were likely ill. Now we have 36. There's 8,000 people, and those folks are gonna need your hospital bed, my hospital bed. And so the sense is we designed a very careful, thoughtful process to assess anybody before they were released, to ensure they wouldn't be released into homelessness, that they wouldn't be released if they had COVID symptoms, that we didn't release anybody with violent histories, that we all evaluated it very carefully, and that would have released about at most 1,000 people over 3 days. That's the kind of speed we need. We've already wasted an additional weekend, another few days. More and more workers are now have the virus. And so, you know, that's my plea. And yes, you know, we may have to go to court for this, but we don't have time for that. We just don't have time for that.
So does that mean you're reaching out to the judge to work to find an arrangement that he can approve, or you're looking for a workaround?
Right now, as we have from the very beginning of this process, you know, from well before I signed the order, I've said, look, if y'all want to do it, go ahead. Now, the judges have the list of inmates that we'd already, you know, been assessing. They've got the charges that we'd evaluated and agreed on with all the stakeholders. They have it. And so if they want to act, they can. They stopped me from acting. And so again, act or let people act. But don't put us in paralysis that literally threatens lives, not just of folks in the jails, be it workers, be it inmates, but those of us who are going to need those same hospital beds.
Am I supposed to hold this? I was going to ask the judge and the mayor, specifically if you guys had some better statistics on what percentage our current hospital surge beds are taken, or like how many people are hospitalized for COVID and how many are in ICU for COVID. We still don't seem to have any sort of concrete information on it. Mayor?
Yeah.
Let me just, and I'll get back. If we can do this, if there are no other questions on the child care initiative, are you all finished with the child care initiative?
The main question I had on the child care initiative was the clarification, I think. And I don't know if you want to say anything about that, because I think what we've gotten is people like calling right away.
Yeah, let me clarify real quick and then answer the question briefly. So in terms of the child care initiative, go to the website right now. You can see it on readyharris.org or childcarenow.org. And so there you will be set with a with a case worker who will connect you to the resources, because we want to make sure we're pairing folks, and you'll be able to issue a geographic preference. You can apply for aid. So the idea is to fill out a form that's on the website. So right now we're not asking folks to go and find their childcare themselves. It's less efficient. You can certainly try, but the system we've set up is an efficient system through caseworkers, so we can pair folks with the resources. On the question of the case count at the hospitals, as I said, and I've said before, it is very important for us to be in constant communication with our hospitals as to what numbers they're seeing, because that is truly the best accounting we have of the growth in the cases. I can tell you guys the latest information we got from the regional organization from CETRAC is the hospitals are about 70% occupancy right now. Now, the key number is not so much that, but how quickly the cases are rising. And from separate conversations we've had from the different hospital leaders, these are still growing at an exponential rate. We are working to synthesize the information across the hospitals. It depends on us getting information from individual hospitals. That's the challenge. And so that's the information we're still seeking out. But where we are right now is that 70% capacity across the board roughly, and the numbers still growing in a path that tracks, you know, a New York type thing. And so we're still early on that path, but we are on that path.
And yes. Do you know how many county employees, because I know the mayor has talked about city employees, who tested positive, other than the sheriff's folks? Because I understand, I'm hearing that some folks at Harris Health, like in the call center, tested positive. And so do you know how many of your non-uniformed employees are positive and
yeah, last I heard and checked in with my folks about that, it was the law enforcement folks that we have a good track on. Other county employees we hadn't confirmed, and so I will go back and confirm, and that's the kind of information, the minute we have it, we put it out with our 4 o'clock release, and so we'll circle back on that. But last I heard, it was just the law enforcement.
So I just want to reiterate, please visit findchildcarenow.org and register. Don't go in, you can go in and look at different sites on there, it's a mapping of current child care, but to go through the process for essential workers, register. You will be contacted by Collaborative for Children, a specialist, within 2 days, and you will be contacted by Workforce Solutions if you are seeking financial assistance within 4 days. So please do that, follow the procedure. If you just go online and start searching, you will run into that issue. So follow the process and you won't run into that issue. Any other questions regarding the child care before we allow those folks that are part of that discussion to be released? Seeing none, we will continue the conference with other
questions. Mayor, are you going to be able to answer any other COVID-related questions?
The mayor has a 3 o'clock briefing at City Hall, and he'll be available at that time. Thank you.
Okay. Judge, is there any county action considered for churches that are having gatherings which violate the social distancing standards?
Yes, so remember the virus spreads in close contact. The virus doesn't know if we're at church or if we're not at church, if we're playing sports, or who we're with. And so the advice that we continue to give is avoid any kind of gathering, any kind of crowd. That said, the governor put out his order saying that the churches were essential services, of course, still asking CDC guidelines, asking people to access services online and all of that. And so we have to go with what the governor's order says. I do want to ask, and I ask everyone to help me spread the word, though, especially as we head into Easter, this is not the time to have any kind of close contact in any setting, because we are doing well at our social distancing. If we have a weekend or a few days where all of a sudden everybody comes out and is in close contact, you're back at a New Orleans with Mardi Gras type thing. You don't want to have a situation where you bring a lot of people together, because again, we're back at square one, and that's going to be more time that our economy suffers, more people that are going to have the virus, more people who will lose their lives. So, in terms of the guidance that I offer, that the healthcare experts will offer, is regardless of the setting, and the virus doesn't know that you're a church and is not going to spare you because you are in a faith setting. And I do want to thank, I was on a call just last week with over 100 faith leaders from all kinds of denominations, and it was just so incredible to see that leadership. I know the vast majority of faith leaders across the county are still holding strong at providing the key support that they offer, that spiritual guidance in the most difficult times, and doing that from a distance to also protect the health and the lives of people who need that guidance and who follow there and need their support.
So have you talked to